Good morning, all the participants again. We have the renowned resource person who is a chartered accountant who will let us know more about the financial aspects related to the startup innovation and entrepreneurship management. I hand over now to Dr. Trupti Chitre to begin with the session.
Yes. Very good morning and welcome to all the delegates. I'll introduce you to our next resource person for the day, Mr. Amrish Vaidya. Amrish Vaidya is a chartered accountant and law graduate with 18 years of professional experience. He has worked with several Indian startups and multinational companies such as Warren Buffett's Fruit of Loom, Dash Telecom on senior positions in finance and legal function. Amrish is a fellow member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and enrolled on Bar Council to practice law in Indian courts. He holds master's degree in commerce and master's degree in arts with economics specialization. Amrish prolifically speaks and advises startup on typical mistakes in setting up business in India, how to set up and exit Indian operations for international companies, and tracking business in numbers without emotions. Besides these, let me introduce you to his another aspect, and that is Amrish is also an Ironman 70.3. So to tell everyone, not everyone knows about this. So Ironman 70.3, it includes 1.9 kilometers sea swim, followed by 90 kilometers cycling, followed by 21 kilometers of running. And he has done it in Goa recently. He's a 7 times full marathoner, which is a distance of 42.2 kilometers, and he has finished in respectable timings. He runs around 40 kilometers every week and cycles about 100 kilometers per week currently. So with this, I have always experienced his prolific skills of presentations. So the session is all yours, and I invite you to speak on the topic. Thank you.
Sure. So thank you, Dr. Chitre and Dr. Gandhi for giving me this opportunity. And I'm actually happy that that the entrepreneurs of tomorrow are actually thinking about the financial aspect. They are thinking about the financial journey of converting idea into the business. So whatever Dr. Chitre has mentioned, I just want to add a few things about me. First and foremost, I'm not a typical practicing chartered accountant with a typical office offering services to clients to file their tax returns or compute tax or do accounting entry without really thinking what is the end use of those accounting entries. We have been taught during our education a lot of complicated stuff, which sometimes even we get confused as to what is the end use of this. My brain is definitely wired for simplicity. I keep looking for a simplicity. I am not an innovator of any product that is making difference in the life of people at large on this earth. I'm just a professional who understands how the business is monitored, how the money is monitored in the numbers, right? So I'm a professional advising the businesses. I have not entered into the entrepreneurship say war, which is extremely difficult. And I can tell you from experiences, I have met a lot of entrepreneurs, and selling anything is probably the most difficult job in the world. The most difficult job. I do not have, I do not have any company, my company employing hundreds or thousands of staff. I'm a simple professional who loves to read business numbers. Okay, so you give me any business numbers, I can tell you, how much money they are making, because that's my passion. I'm continuously curious about why and how behind the business, and that is the only reason I said yes to Dr. Gandhi for this very, very interesting topic about the journey from a simple idea and how to convert that in, how to convert that into the business with the financial senses turned on, with all your antenna as to how people will try to make you fool, or take out money from your pocket. I'm really interested to give you some of my analytics or some of my observations over last 18 years of as my professional career. I will share today typical mistakes that I found entrepreneurs making. And the sad part is losing their thousands of hard-earned savings and sometimes lakhs of rupees in chasing the idea dreams, right? Everyone wants to become Ambani's, or everyone wants to become Zuckerberg. We read a lot of those inspirational books, but I'm happy in this session we are talking really about the financial aspect of the startups, which is extremely important. Let me repeat that when you convert your idea and you start your own business, you are putting your hard-earned money, right? Those who are working in employment or have their limited set of professional practice will agree with me that making money is probably the most difficult job. And if you have spent many years in making that money, losing money won't take much of the time, right? So I will share those mistakes. I know how exactly I have seen how exactly entrepreneurs get trapped into the jungle of the professionals. Professionals' work is basically to advise you. Whatever guidance you need, they will advise you, but no one will tell you whether you genuinely need that guidance or you need to go back to the basics and ask why behind it. I've seen big talkers. I don't believe in big talkers. I've seen big talkers. I've seen visionaries failing. One of my boss is a super successful entrepreneur, making 100 crore revenue every year and taking home about 20 crore profit every year. Yet, he had a product during his college days, because it is a product developed by him during his college days, during his IIT Powai, era. He's very, his heart is very close to that product, and I've seen he couldn't turn that product into the success, despite of he having a lot of contacts in the industry, despite of him having so much of the name and a fame for building one of the great IT company in India, particularly in Pune. At the same time, I've seen innocent techies, especially those working in the IT companies. They access a lot of information on the internet and start slowly getting into the myth of the entrepreneurship. And it could be of any business. I've seen some of my friends starting the business of the restaurant and then eventually running out of the cash. We always look at वो restaurant चला रहा है, but let me tell you, running a restaurant is extremely difficult business. Yet it is a very glamorous business in India. But I've seen some techies making those mistakes, getting into the different areas without having the real expertise or without really understanding, analyzing the business, right? So that's about me. So your risk starts actually now. So first and foremost, I just want to quickly talk about the objective behind starting the business, or objective behind converting that idea into the business. Each one of has. So what is this idea really? Idea is really the problem statement which we face. We feel that this is a big problem statement, and because I have the expertise, I can solve this problem statement and can create a business opportunity wherein I can mint the money. So business is definitely not to make your career or my career. Right? Business is for making money, obviously. That's the first principle why behind the business. And entrepreneurs will not talk about the money. They will talk about all their visions. They will not talk about money. But at the end of the day, everyone works for the money. Everyone wants to make the fortune by converting your great idea into a great business, right? But that's a journey, and I am happy Dr. Gandhi specifically titled this session and use the word journey. It is a journey. It is a long journey. Journey will have a lot of ups and downs. Journey will have a lot of hurdles. But eventually, if you're focused and if you know why behind business, if you're honest with it, you will ultimately reach the destination. Another reason I have seen, a lot of people want to escape from the boss's face. Yeah, boss बहुत दिमाग खाता है मेरा. दिन भर मुझे reports मांगता है, मैं रात को late तक काम करता हूँ, and next day he doesn't even look at those reports. We have seen some of those WhatsApp jokes, but this is a genuine reality. This is a typical problem with the techies who are the subject matter expertise, right? Here I see many of you in the audience today are from a pharmaceutical background, right? All of you have achieved something really special in your experience, in your work experience. All of you know exactly something better and different that others may not know, right? So you really feel that whatever your efforts are not being valued in the current organization, therefore you want to escape your boss's face and start your own world, right? So using your super expert skills to make the difference in the life of the people, make the difference in the world. Sometimes some people have this feeling that I want to be called as a shade. मेरे को shade बोलना चाहिए लोगों ने, right? Business chala raha hai, I run my business. Some people get a high from that. That could be objective, right? But at the end of the day, business is all about making money, and making money is making profits. And profit is simple. Profit is sales minus your purchases minus your expenses. It is simple. Forget about all the accounting juggleries that chartered accountants like us use. Business means profit. Profit is equal to sales minus purchase minus expense. This is the basic mathematics that we have learned during probably our school or college days, right? So that's why about the business. Now everyone gets into the business, and I have some special slide which I will share after some time. I had kept that slide earlier as a slide number 3, but I thought I don't want to demotivate you. I really want to motivate you to create a business success. I have pushed that slide a little backwards. First and foremost, I really want you to understand that what gets measured gets the success. If you see how these big corporates work, they all monitor their business in the numbers, right? Also more important, one of the things that the budding entrepreneurs or the startup bosses, they forget that you're putting your own money in the business, right? With the idea that it will yield some outcome, right? You're deploying your own funds, your fixed deposit funds, or maybe your mutual funds. You might liquidate your shares at the current market price and put all that money in the business, right? So you have to really compare it against कि अगर ये मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, ये मगरमारी मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, then if I keep that in a simple bank fixed deposit which yields 5% interest, I should get at least 5% on the amount deployed by me in the business. Of course, I know that the entrepreneurs will say this is a typical accountant's mind. You are a very conservative person. I agree, but I want you to. I really want you to keep this number back of the mind, right? We are doing business and I've seen people making a lot of excuses. Business can't make money in the year 1. We can reach break even by year 3, and then we will start making money in the year 4. But during this journey, you have to run your house, plus the kind of pressure that you will be having on your mind, because you will be thinking about your own funds being deployed in the business, right? It's not easy. I mean, you have earned it so hard. Even if you're taking it from your father, your father has put in a lot of efforts, a lot of work hours at the workplace to make that money. right? So keeping your money in the bank account is the bank fixed deposit is the simplest and the most risk-free, hopefully, as of now, at least in the nationalized bank and a Schedule 1 bank. But we have seen even keeping money in the in some of the cooperative banks have been defaulted. So keep aside that part. But this is the baseline that every budding entrepreneur need to keep back of the mind. And this is something which is very, very favorite to all those budding entrepreneurs who have a great idea on hand. The success of the business will be measured only if you are able to sustain for a longer term. It's just not a game of 1 month or 2 months or 6 months or 1 year. I often wonder that some of the shopkeepers throw a huge party for their shop inauguration without really thinking that what will be my footfall. Today everyone is coming, all my friends are coming because you have invited them for a free lunch or dinner, but from tomorrow you're on your own, and you will be waiting for your customer, and customers won't come just because you opened the shop. Customers will come only because they want to buy something, and we will talk more about that in the subsequent slide. But the measurement of the business success is only if you are sustaining for a longer time, if you are repeating it again and again and again, right? You're benefiting people at large to get the life-changing impact of your vision, right? Take example from your industry, whoever has developed that COVID vaccine, that is actually making an impact at large on the people across the world. Or a firm from Pune, I don't remember the name, but I think My Lab, or I forgot the name, but they have created some home toolkit for COVID testing. Now that is something which is a life-changing impact of your vision on a large set of people. It could be your city, could be your country, could be across the world, right? Take example of the Google and Microsoft. Google has changed the way people used to look at using the information. It has changed. It has benefited the people at large. Today we say that everything is at a click of a button, right? So yeah, so that's sustaining and benefiting people at large to get the life changing impact of your vision. Now this is something really, really interesting. So I remember there was so I'm sure all of you, especially those who are from Pune, must have have seen these advertisements or a lot of these outlets across the city called Yevle Amrut Tulya. It's a tea shop, a local tea shop, extremely well branded. And I remember there was a news on some of the Marathi news channel wherein the reporter was prolifically mentioning that this tea shop is making 5 lakh rupees per month. And I, because I love numbers, I was wondering, अगर वो 5 लाख रुपए महीने का बनाता है, then it's a question on a lot of people who are spending hours and hours and months and years in getting the higher education, right? So then I actually went there after getting thrilled by this idea that a chai shop is making 5 lakh rupees a month. I was super impressed. I was actually happy, frankly speaking. I was very happy. I said, this is a Deshi Starbucks. Starbucks is a super successful coffee chain in America. Well, by the way, the common Americans don't step in at the Starbucks in America because $700 ka coffee kisko parvadega, right? So I had been there, and I've seen Americans who were my colleagues resisting to go to Starbucks for buying a coffee worth $7 or $8. They would rather take me to a coffee which is sold at a gas station or a petrol pump, which was good, equally good, by the way. So I was impressed with this Yevle Amrut Tulya story, which I heard on the newspaper. I went there, and then I had 2 cups of tea, and I was in observation mode, and I was in the calculation mode. So what did I calculate? I said, probably 3 cups per minute if they sell. Okay, so it will say 30 seconds, say 20 seconds for 1 cup. 60 minutes if they sell, 6 threes are 180 cups, they will sell it in a 1 hour. Let's say they operate the shop for 10 hours, 1800 cups, and let's say 30 days, right? So they will sell 54,000 cups in a month of the tea. Okay, now this is of course with the assumption that all days are good, even if there is morcha, there is ban, there is the road closure, people will still try to come to this shop and have a cup of tea, right? So optimistically or very happily, I made this assumption that 54,000 cups he must be making he must be selling it in a month. Then I said, okay, let's reduce it to 50,000, 4,000 cups ka nuksan ho sakta hai. Who will drink a tea at 12:30 in the month of May, right? 12:30 in the afternoon in the month of May, or 1 p.m. in the afternoon, where the temperature in Pune is close to about 40 degrees. Who will drink chai? So let us reduce it by 4,000 cups, and for the sake of calculation, let's say 50,000 cups he must be selling, 10 rupees per cup. The number came 5 lakh. The magic number came 5 lakh, right? Now, then I realized this is where the most entrepreneurs makes the mistake, right? This is not making money. This is just your sales. This is just the collection of the collection against the product that you are selling to your customer, right? So he is making a 5 lakh rupees monthly revenue. Now, so far the story looks amazing. I will still say, यार 5 लाख रुपए बना रहा है, मतलब ये सब चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, ये बाकी सब दुनियादारी, टेक्निकल कॉन्सेप्ट, फार्मा, ये सब छोड़ देता हूँ, चाय वाला बन जाता हूँ, राइट? अगर ये नहीं बना तो शायद मैं प्रधानमंत्री भी बन सकता हूँ, ये भी दिखाया है हमने हमारे डेमोक्रेसी में. So 5 lakh rupees, per monthly revenue looks super attractive to me. Then I said, okay, let me look at the production expenses. And I am a prolific, I used to drink a lot of tea, like 10, 15 cups a day a few years ago. Now I drink only 2 cups a day. But I do a lot of research on how to make a best tea. And because I actually love tea. So I have done a lot of research. I have tried a lot of different brands of the tea leaf. I have a very, very specific method of making my own tea. Keep that aside. So that's the reason, I'm aware as to, what could be the production expense. So I looked at the milk, right? Yevle tea, by the way, Yevle tea is exceptionally good quality chai. And I can tell you that, I had that tea several times, especially after my runs, and it's a great quality chai, right? He says that, it's a pure milk tea. So if you see today, milk is 60 rupees per liter. He's using the buffalo milk, not the cow milk. And he showed me, by the way, because they have standardized their operations in all the centers, all the franchise stores. So they use Chitale or Gokul, right? So milk is 60 rupees per liter. 8 cups of in 1 liter. You have 8 cups of the milk. Let us discount him. He's saying that no, I will make the chai only with the milk, right? So I say, okay, he will make 15 cups of tea in 1 liter, right? So your cost, your cost of making 1 cup of chai is 4 rupees per cup. Then you add sugar, tea leaf, gas. Let's say conservatively you add 3 rupees per cup. So that means on the 5 lakh rupees revenue that you are making, you are earning on a gross level 3 rupees per cup, 50,000, 1,50,000 rupees per month, right? It is still looking very, very attractive story. After all, how many of us get the salary of 1,50,000 rupees per month so easily in today's market? And this is the tea business is in India since donkey's number of years. So 1,50,000, making 1,50,000 rupees per month, sounds like cool. Then I went further. Then I looked at the labor cost. Now this is absolutely conservative. Okay, ideally the labor cost could be higher. I have assumed only the 3 staff, जिसमें से one person will be making the tea, 2 persons will be serving, you will have 1 housekeeping, say 30,000. Okay, it's not easy, by the way, to get the blue collar staff at a salary of 8 to 10,000 per month, working for 10 hours a day, right? So, but yet on a conservative side, I am saying 30,000. Then you look at the shop cost. All these tea shops are located on the main streets in Pune. Obviously, because if you want to have the large number of footfalls, so imagine for the 50,000 cups, you have say unique 50,000 footfall in a month. That's pretty large number. I don't know whether you're aware, the average footfall per shop in a shopping mall on a weekend is 2,500 on a peak days, if it is Diwali or some special day or some discount is going on. That's all India average, right? On a weekday, it is 11,000 for the entire mall. So for one shop, it is less than 100 or 200, right? I'm not so of course I'm not trying to compare the shopping mall with the tea shop, but you can compare, you can imagine how much multiplication you can add to the footfall. Finally, it is all about footfall, कि कितने लोग आ रहे हैं और कितने चाय पी रहे हैं. Now, 1 कप चाय पीने वाले बहुत हो गए, 2 कप चाय पीने वाले कोई पागल मेरा जैसा ही होगा, वही हो सकता है. So 50,000 footfall per month is a big number, right? So the rental at a premium rate, even on a conservative side for a 200 square foot area, could be about 50,000. Electricity cost, this is at a commercial rate. This is again at a 50,000, assuming that he used the electricity very wisely, because in Yeble Tea they have a machine which makes the tea, right? Then I looked at the cleaning cost. You have to clean the shop according to their standards. So other expenses, you give sometimes free samples. Because of the COVID, there is an additional cost of the plastic cups. Let's say at 10,000. So net profit per month is 40,000 rupees, right? Annually, he will be making 4,80,000 rupees. So far, so good. Now there are 2 challenges. One is how will he scale up? We will come about we'll come on the next slide about the challenges. Now there's an investment. You have to pay 12 lakh rupees royalty to the original Yeble Bandhus, for using their name. There is a specific branding of the shop that needs to be done, and it has a cost of about 3 lakh rupees for making that furniture, buying the utensils which are very, very specific to Yeble, and other capital investment for decorating the shop. So on an average, at the best, if this shops runs at the best, there are no more charge, no band, every 1 hour we got a 180 customers, stepping into the shop. It will still take 3 years. If the number is reduced to half, it will take 6 years, and so on. Now, what is missing in this mathematics? Now, this is the business arithmetic that I mentioned you. And this is the typical mistake that people do when they convert idea into business. They don't consider the owner's time cost, right? If I remember, I went to the Bedecker Misal, one of the very famous misal shop in Pune, and he's a good friend of mine. And I said, you got a great brand. Why can't you think about expanding? And we were having a casual, informal conversation. And he said, you know what, Ambrish, it's not a profitable business. You think this is a profitable? I said, of course it is profitable business. We were waiting for 30 minutes, even if we know you so well, even if you know that, so many years, I'm eating misal here. He said, look, it looks glamorous, but it is not profit making. Just take a look at my shop. 4 of us in our family working here full time in the shop. If we were working in some IT company or some pharma company, how much money we would be making, and look how much money we are making today, right? So he considered that owner's time cost. He said, I'm doing it because of the name. but I don't know whether it is sustainable because I did not think when I was young. But today when I think, I feel, this is a challenge. That effectively as a family, our net earning in the family is much less than what we could have earned even if we had worked in bank or some IT company. So that's what I'm mentioning. We need to think about owner's current earnings from the profession or the job. So if you are getting a 50,000 rupees salary or 1 lakh rupees salary, 12 lakh rupees per year you're taking home, okay, and you're running home. So if your business can't give you 12 lakh rupees per year, if you can't take out 12 lakh rupees or 6 lakh rupees based on what is your current salary, you start getting a pressure. You feel, यार मैं नौकरी कर रहा था उस वक्त तो मैं ज्यादा पैसा बना रहा था, अब तो कम बना रहा हूं मैं, right? And see, understand, you're alone, especially when you get into the business. You will see a lot of big talkers. You will see, a lot of people who will try to cheat you. But at the end of the day, you're alone. You're alone in the business. No chartered accountants can help you. You will of course get, advices which are free of cost, right? But no chartered accountants will help you to fix your business arithmetic. Therefore, fixing the business arithmetic is absolutely important. Now, so what is that entrepreneurial myth? Why I'm saying that, fixing the business arithmetic is absolutely important, because there was a survey done, and this is a business survey, survival reality. 100 business, about 1 million business starts in America every year. This was a survey done in America, and this holds true everywhere. Okay, don't think that India is different or any country is different. When 100 businesses starts, 100 entrepreneurs starts their businesses in year 0, by the end of the first year, 40% of them are out of this business. 60% of them are out of business. So you get at the end of the year 1, you are 60, and then 1/3 of the remaining will manage to run for 5 years. So that's out of the 120 businesses will survive for 5 years. They will cry, they will survive, they will somehow survive. And then from 5 years to 10 years, there are only 4 businesses. Imagine today we are in 2021. Today you are converting your idea into business. Out of the 100 only, and this is the statistics or historical data says. And I have read a lot about this entrepreneurial myth, and believe me, this number exists even in India, right? So why is this? Why so many people get into the business only to fail? What lessons they are not learning? And I mentioned to you about the first lesson, that the business arithmetic. A lot of time people give less importance to the finance and then forget the business arithmetic, right? So what makes or breaks the business? I personally believe, and I have worked with the telecom companies, with the IT companies, with the pharma company, large companies, mid-sized companies, successful companies, and the failed companies also. So the difference that I can see between the failed company and a successful company is successful company will always have a business vision with the numbers. And numbers are very attractive. Numbers will actually drive you. I don't know how many of you know Javed Habib, the haircut specialist. If you go on their website, they have a vision that Javed Habib, some guy probably, I don't know, I have not done a lot of research, but that guy Javed Habib wants to cut hairs of every person on this earth. Now that's really vision. That means he's talking about the numbers. One of my friend's son started a business about a month back. What I like about he's selling some special braids in Pune, home delivery or some model. But what I like, at the end of the first month, he launched it. He did a soft launch on Facebook, on WhatsApp, and informally. I mean, he did not invited any politician or any film star to inaugurate his shop. He wanted to start low and start simple. he introduced very limited number of bread products. At the end of the first month, he published the statistics that I have serviced 135 plus customer. Now I see that is a vision. I see that is a number, and that number will drive him. That 135, he will try to make it 1350 soon, and 13,500 soon, because all his efforts will go towards the numbers, right? And of course, sometimes you will look at, sometimes there are products which are sold to the high net worth individuals, which are obviously you will have less numbers, but yet you will have a number to target, right? So business vision with numbers will definitely make the business. If you don't have it, it will definitely break the business. Business arithmetic. I explained you example of Yevle tea. If honestly, till before I did this arithmetic myself, I was highly impressed with this franchisee model. And today, if you see, there are hundreds of Yevles. A lot of people have copied their franchisee model. Yevle tea definitely has got a unique taste, but there is one change that has happened from the year when I saw them, and after inauguration, 1 year down the line, the change that you see is now all of them are using using the thermos. So they're making the chai, keeping it in the thermos, and serving you little late. So typically, the real taste of the chai goes away if you put that in the thermos, and that's the reason. If you see the Parsi community or who runs the Irani restaurants, they would never sell their chai in the thermos. They have a different methodology of making the chai. But that is actually an indication that they are not getting the enough number of footfalls which is required to run the show, right? And we will come to know the Yevle tea is just a 3 years old story, unfortunately. 4 years old story, unfortunately. Last 2 years, they must have got badly hit, and this is what happens in the business. No one thought about COVID. They must have got badly hit. Time will tell us how many years they will survive. Will they be part of that 4 businesses who survives at the end of 10 years, or they will wrap up everything before 10 years? The time will tell us. But the business arithmetic definitely makes or breaks the business. Business strategy. So how you, and we will talk more about that in the next slide. How you will make the business, where you will get the money, right? How will you sustain in that business? That's a business strategy that one has to think about. The labor cost. Believe me, labor is a most difficult challenge today in India, irrespective of any, whether you're running a hotel, you're running a company. Getting a labor who is willing to put their heart at the work is not easy. You have to build that culture, and it comes with the cost, right? Training hiring a wrong labor, wrong employees comes with the cost, right? So that can actually make or break the business. I've seen a wrong hire of a CEO who has no vision about the business, who was relying only on his subordinates, and was not actually focused on the business, how to increase the sales number, how to reduce the cost. Eventually, they had to shut the shop in India. So I've seen that. So labor is extremely important. Marketing without ROI vision. So a lot of time, people take pride that मेरा company का logo, मेरा brand paper पे आ गया. The paper advertisements are extremely costly. If you see the front page advertisement, they cost something like 2 lakh to 10 lakh, based on whether it is a half page or a full page. Politicians do that, but we know how they do that and why they do that. So let's not get into that. But again, I still feel that politicians are actually wasting money by issuing those one-page advertisement, unless they feel that they will get favors from their top bosses if they issue a one-page advertisement on the first page. But to win election, the advertisement on the first page is not a great ROI, in my opinion. So marketing without return on investment vision can actually break the business, because marketing will continuously evolve. you need to hammer it, and it comes with the cost. Marketing is extremely costly, not only in India but everywhere in the world. So one need to have a pragmatic and a realistic approach, and most importantly, in business, you cannot have emotions, you cannot have ego, right? So, so why I mentioned this, because there's one research which is done by the Thai Charter, which is an entrepreneurial organization in India, and they said whenever CEOs or the business owners have hired their friends, their relatives, I'm talking about the labor cost. Whenever they have hired friends, relatives, ex-colleagues, the formula has not worked. There are emotions, there are relationships, and therefore, even if the employee is not performing, you end up paying salary, you end up losing track of the business. So the emotions and the ego are the last two things that you can have in the business. And as a lawyer, I also advise my clients that, do you really want to file the case against him? I mean, what are you trying to achieve? We will win the case, right? We will win the case after 5 years, but what are you trying to achieve? नहीं, उसको मेरे को अक्कल सिखाना है, मुझे उसको सिखाना है. Let me prove what I am, right? So I am happy, right? I get 10,000 rupees for every hearing that I go to the district court. But at the end of the day, it damages the relationship forever, and obviously you don't get anything out of it from these victories, right? Except your personal satisfaction कि मैंने उसको हरा दिया, right? But it hurts your business, right? Lawyers like me will sit on your P&L and eat your profit, which is absolutely not warranted. So idea to business, a visibility study. This is the most important piece that you really need to start thinking. If you have an idea and you want to convert that into the business, first and foremost, you really need to think about, who are my customers? I mentioned to you about the restaurant business. If you see around, a lot of restaurants are opening and closing after 1 year or 2 years. But some of the old restaurants, they're still continuing because of their product quality, right? But then at the same time, some of those restaurants who have opened their branches at the location which is not really convenient for parking, or which is not the residential location of their customers, they had to shut their shop within 1 year or 2 years. So first and foremost, you really need to pin down, you have to write it down. Who are your target customers? What is the quantity of those customers? How many customers are we talking about? Or is my idea, I'm considering great because I like it and my family members like it, or my friend says, "Arey kya idea, zabardast hai. You can make millions out of this," right? So you really need to think about, who are my customer? What are you trying to sell? And why will they buy? Why will customer buy your product? Why will he buy, your ideas, right? Who are my competitors? I mean, are you the one who is Newton, जिसने वो क्या किसका वो या इन्वेंशन कुछ किया है नया आपने, जो बाकी किसी ने नहीं किया है, and that's the reason people will buy your product, or will actually rush to your product? Or are you Apple company, which produced a great iPhones? You need to ask these questions. You need to figure out, who and why they will buy this product. Competitors will always be there in the market, and they may be more experienced than you. If you are working in a specific company and in a specific department, you will always have a limited vision of what is happening outside. Competitors are smart. There are other entrepreneurs who are faster, better, and smarter. They will try to use the opportunity. So if you really want to, you really need to evaluate your idea as to why customers will come to me instead of my competitors, right? Then what are your bottlenecks to scale up, right? Sometimes the ideas are great, but then we don't know how to scale it up, right? It is not scalable. I came up with some niche product, right? Costing, let's say I came up with a shirt which is वो सोने का shirt पुणे में बनाने के chances थे, right? How many people will buy that shirt? the concept is great. You are having 80% margin on making that shirt, and it's like a pride statement that some politician is wearing a golden shirt, right? But how many politicians will really buy that idea, right? If you are if you are seeing only 5 customers, then you have a bottleneck. If you are seeing 500 customers, which is difficult, maybe you're selling a costly product, you really need to think about the bottlenecks. And most important, and I would recommend all of you to read this business called E-Myth by Michelle Gerber. It's a greatest book, greatest self-help books, which is followed for years in America. And you ask any entrepreneurs or the successful CEOs, they most of 90% of them have read this book. And that book talks about a very simple formula. It says that your production has to be in a repeatable mode, and your customer has to come again and again, right? We are staying in Pune. I'm sure those who are staying in Pune will agree with me that we don't even remember how many times we have visited Vaishali Hotel, right? So it means that I'm a repeat customer. It has to be a repeatable production. The ability, I really like that. So your repeatable production with the same quality, same quantity, everything remains the same. McDonald's, repeatable production, same quantity. The customers will come again and again and again. We don't want customers to come once, right? We want customer to come again and again and again. Then only we will make more money, right? Sometimes you have to take the external help. You need to take the help from the experts, and nothing comes free. Even the advice is by the professional. I personally believe that you should ask for a help, and you should actually ask for a professional help at a fee. A lot of times, people ask for a free help, but then they get a free advice which has no meaning, or which is not really detailed. If you pay someone, he's answerable. He or she is answerable. To prove the value that he or she is adding, because otherwise for him or her you won't be the repeated customer, right? So feel free to take the external help. Idea to business, that viability study is very important. Funding your business, what are the different ways of funding your business? Imagine you want to set up the factory, or imagine you want to start the production, right? How will you start your production? Assuming that you have a business arithmetic, business projections, कि मैं कितने सेल करने वाला हूँ, मेरा प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट कितना हो सकता है, मैं थोड़ा मार्जिन रखूंगा उसमें कि प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट बढ़ गया तो मुझे सप्लायर ने दिया ही नहीं तो माल वो जो मुझे तैयार करना है, right? So what are your funding options? You have private investors, but private investors these days are very smart. Whatever we read in the economic news, Economic Times, or newspaper is a half truth, right? Private investors don't invest in company without due diligence and without understanding the business arithmetic, whether this is a sustainable model, whether they will continue for 10 years, 20 years and give me return on my investment, right? This is not a donation that they are giving you. They will expect good returns on their investment, and they will definitely expect returns more than 5% in the bank, in the bank account, in the bank FD account minimum. You can take a loan against your property. That is how you can fund your business. Mind well, once you have taken a loan against your property, it comes at a very high rate of interest. Unlike your home loan, which comes at 7 or 8% today, loan against property comes at 11%, 12%, sometimes 15 or 16%. You can risk your own investment, whatever investment that you have done over many years of your career, your hard-earned investment. You can use that to fund your business, but make sure that you don't spend more than the investments. This is one. The fourth option is something which very few people are aware, because the segment of this loan customers is typically a very poor class of the people below the poverty line, right? People who are uneducated, like watchmen, or like your security guard or your housekeeping staff, right? So typically they are not entertained by the bankers to give the loan. So if they go to the Saukar, he will charge 25% interest per annum. But if they so these loan companies like Muthoot and Manappuram, they actually take your gold and they give you a loan at a rate of about 12 or 13%. I don't know what is the latest rate, but that is still cheaper than taking the personal loan, right? Because and the best part about the loan against gold is whenever you have a money, you can refund it, and you did not pay interest till the last date. So जितने दिन तक मैंने loan use किया उतना मैं interest pay करूँगा, finish. And because gold is we are very, very emotional about the gold, we will obviously repay and take back our jewelry or the gold. Friends, relatives funding, again, this is a risky funding, because the chances are that if you are not successful, you end up straining relationship with your friends and relatives. You really need to figure out how much cash you need, right? You can plan the big, right? But you can't start spending suddenly all the cash that you have gathered through various sources of funding. How do you plan to repay back? This is the question that you need to ask yourself. What is your plan B, plan C, plan Z? Right? So you need to have, of course, there are books which talks about the motivational books which talks about you should have only plan A, but it doesn't work in the business when it comes to finance, right? So funding your own business, then spending on your business. So I have seen a lot of time entrepreneurs getting high with the principle of okay, I'll ask this. Yeah. I have seen a lot of businesses, business owners who really feel great about themselves, and of course they deserve to feel great about converting idea into business. But then sometimes they slip, and sometimes they forget this principle of propriety, like how we make our purchasing decision for buying anything at home. You have to apply the same principle of propriety for making any purchase decision for your business. There is in India, typically there is a big chance that there will be leakage through employees. I was talking to one of the franchisee food store owner, and he said the biggest challenge is he can't sit in the shop for all 10 hours, because he's working somewhere and he's doing this business, and he said the challenge is because I work in the food industry and I see that there is a lot of leakage through employees. वो employees ही खा जाते हैं या उनके दोस्त आ जाते हैं. उसको take example of Yevle chai. Every time the staff के 4 friend आने लगे, then you end up losing losing 3 rupees per cup. So वो 4 लोग आ गए तो 12 rupees you lose it, right? Because your employees' friends are coming to the shop, right? So that leakage through employees is a big challenge in India, definitely. I don't know about outside India, but leakage through employees is something you have to micro monitor. You don't know how, because employees work there to earn salary, not to very rarely they work to grow your business. You can give them a lot of gyan, you can motivate them, but the leakage has to be controlled. The leakage is more in the restaurant or food or kind of industries. Then vestages, right? There are vestages because employees don't use the product, use the input product with the sufficient care. If you don't have a close eye on the raw material, how it is stored, you need to have a complete control on your business. So otherwise it will result in vestage, and vestage would nothing but it will be reduction in your profit that you will be taking home. So today you are driving a salary of 1 lakh rupees per month, 12 lakh rupees per month minimum आना है, तो ये वेस्टेजेस की वजह से 12 lakh आने थे, 11 lakh आ जाएंगे. Micromanaging employees, this is of course needed in the first stage of your business, in the initial few years, because you are putting your own money, right? You have to make sure that employees put in all their 8 hours, and that's the reason we have hired the labor, right? So micromanaging becomes extremely important for the entrepreneurs. Performance driven business, you have to build a culture right from day one. Forget about those typical dialogues that businesses take 3 years to get into the break even. You need to have that fire in the belly, that I will make my business performance driven. My idea is great, I know my idea is sellable in the market. You have to make it a performance driven business. Marketing cost, I mentioned to you about marketing cost. You have to really keep a tap on the marketing cost. How much you're sending, what is the impact it is yielding me. A lot of times you will see that your marketing cost will be the best, because marketing is all about trying different things, trying new things. Marketing is all about seeking attention of your prospective buyers, right? So marketing can actually make or break your business. If you're doing a wrong marketing, it can actually break your business. I mentioned you earlier, wrong hires cost you far more than the salary. If you hire a wrong person to work for you, and if he or she doesn't perform in 1 or 2 months, you not only pay salary to him free of cost for 1 or 2 months, but you also end up creating a backlog. So your entire schedule goes for a toss. So wrong hires historically have costed far more than the salary cost that we will be paying to these wrong hires. Investing on the people, this is something one need to really think about, because people will make or break our business. As you learn different facets of the business, after converting your idea into business, you will start investing on the people and investing on the scaling up of the business. And that's what I mentioned to you again about the business arithmetics. If you have a big picture in front of you, then this makes a lot of sense. Then you can actually scale up your business. You can actually do it step by step. You can think, you can set the target for yourself, because once you become your own boss, nobody will give you targets. You will have to give targets to yourself, and you will have to give targets to your team. And if the targets are not made, there is no one to blame you. You have to blame yourself. And when I say blame yourself, you have to actually start again from the scratch, mint the different ways, or invent the different paths to reach to your destination. So it's an everyday war. When you start your business, it's a everyday war. It's much easier than being an advisor and giving the advices to your clients. Converting your idea into business is really big, and it's a journey. You will take a lot of time to understand the importance of the other function. A lot of time what happens, because we feel we are technically superior, we feel we are business. But business works not just with the great product, great idea, or because how great you are. Businesses work if you are able to work effectively with more number of people around you, and you're able to sell your idea to your prospective customer, and it comes again and again and again to your door. So monitoring the business numbers, how the business numbers have to be tracked. Some of the these are some of the metrics that I use for tracking the businesses where I'm advising. We look at the sales target on a weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis, yearly basis. Now, sales target are not met. That does not mean we will shoot down the sales advisor or the sales manager, right? We will try to figure out why it is not made. Is he taking less efforts, or he is taking efforts at a wrong location? For example, there are a lot of sales databases available in the country today, available for sale online, right? So you have to keep trying. Sometimes if your business requires the cold calling, you will get a lot of nasty replies, right? So you have to build that team. You have to make sure that the weekly, monthly, quarterly targets are met. What is your cost per new sales? If you make 100 calls, if you are getting one appointment, that's good enough, right? But you need to make sure that can I make 100 to 200, assuming that you are selling a very niche product, with a high cost product, then the cost per new sale matters a lot. Cost per marketing lead. We are doing marketing campaigns, but how much it is yielding into the leads. I'm sending 10,000 emails every day to the database that I have, but is it resulting into queries on the email that some customer says, hey, I'm interested in your product, right? Because everyone is marketing these days. The email marketing, phone marketing, everything is spamming up. So what can you do differently to seek the attention of your prospective customer? And that is how you can reduce the cost per lead and a cost per conversion. What is my per head admin and IT cost? If you are running a business, what is my per person administration cost? Do I really need the office? Luckily, because of the COVID, we have a permanent work from home also, right? Of course, there are some challenges, disadvantages on the permanent work from home model also. But you need to really think about this cost. And finally, you need to really look at the pre-operating tax profit. So forget about the tax. Whatever tax comes, you will have to pay. But you need to look at the pre-operating tax profit. This is the amount which is your gross salary that you are earning today. That 1 lakh rupees per month. That's what I was mentioning. So 12 lakh rupees ban rahe kya pre-operating tax profit mein? Then fine. I have a time to breathe. I have to time to think about how to make this 12 lakh into 24 lakh into 48 lakh. Right? But if you monitor the numbers, there are levers in the business. You have to really play with those levers and make sure that you hit your targets. So now coming back to some little bit technical, if whenever you are ready with all these business mathematics, business assumptions, business viability study, I forgot to mention about the business viability study. One of the common practice followed by the American entrepreneurs or the startup companies is for converting any idea into business, they do a lot of surveys, a lot of public surveys. The public surveys helps them in two ways. One, they are able to push their brand name in the mind of those many people, and they those respondents of the survey are actually curious. Acha, let me try this. Whenever they launch this product, let me try this, right? So do think about doing the survey. If you think your idea is great, it has to be backed by the numbers, not because you are thinking the idea is great, the idea doesn't become great, right? If there are 40, 60, 100 people are saying this is a great idea and I would like to buy this this kind of product, right? So that's the business viability study. Once you're done with all this homework, typically you look at these are the different types of the structures available for forming your own business company in India. It could be anything, and I will talk about the pluses and minuses. Public limited companies, of course, you are taking money from the public. This is typically for the large enterprises who want to take money from the public, from the share market, and use that money for in their business, which is already settled. Then there's something called a private limited company. If four of your friends wants to start a business, this is the typical method which is followed in India to start their own business. So private limited liability company. This is again, you have to choose it according to the scale of business. There's a typical myth that private limited company hai to wo bahut bada hai, right? So, and because it is a limited liability company, nothing will happen. So that is a myth. Okay, as a director of the company, you are liable for all your operation. If you don't pay the creditors, they will definitely come your home. Forget which format of the company you are, right? They will definitely file a case against you, not against the company. They will file it against the directors of the company, right? So private limited company, of course, some people feel that I feel that my idea is just not a prototype. It is actually a serious business. Therefore, I want to start a private limited company. Then there is a new concept called new limited liability partnership. Again, this is registered with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and all data is controlled centrally. Partnership firm, this is the oldest form of a business structure wherein two or more partners, it could be husband, wife, could be anyone, brother, sister, two brothers can enter into a simple partnership firm deed, partnership deed, which will talk about the terms and conditions, how the business will run, who will bring how much capital, who will bring the assets, how the profits will be distributed. Will it be 50-50% or 80-20% or 70-30%, whatever number that you can decide to distribute the profit as well as the losses. Then you don't trust anyone, you don't go well along with anyone. We have something called a simple proprietorship as a structure of business. You get a shop act, you get all the licenses for this business. So you have to choose it according to the scale of your business. What is the taxation and taxation structure in India? So typically income tax for companies currently is about 25%. So 22% is a basic tax, and then the surcharge and education says that makes it about 25%. Taxation structure for the partnership firm. So whatever profits that companies are making, 25% they pay tax. But then in the partnership firms, the taxes are much higher. The taxes are 30% plus 30% plus education cess and surcharge, depending on the slabs. But in case of companies, while paying dividend, the shareholder again has to pay the tax. So taxation structure for the company is always costlier in India, because government wants you to keep the money parked in the business, so that instead of taking it out home. How the income tax structure for proprietorship is your own individual tax slab structure. Just that after your salary, your business income will be added, and based on the tax slabs, you will pay the tax. Now, how the income tax is computed on the businesses? Typically, you have your sales, and you have your production cost and your labor cost. All that gets deducted. You are all your expenses, electricity bill, your housekeeping, security, whatever cost required to run the factory, repair, maintenance. You arrive at the profit on which the income tax is paid, right? So it is pretty simple and straight. The notices that we get from the income tax department are typically the cases where you are actually trying to put your personal expenses, like you went for a vacation, or you went for a hoteling, and trying to pay less tax for the company or partnership firm. Income tax officer will ask you question through the notice. These days, of course, everything is online. Gone are the days where the chartered accountant or you will have to face the income tax officer. The government has introduced since last 2 years something called a faceless assessment, wherein I don't know who is my tax officer. He will ask me questions and I have to answer that on the portal. So the typical challenges, if you don't give them reply in time, if you reply them incorrectly, you get into the challenge. And their questions are not very, very difficult. But of course, if you try to give them the answers where they get into they feel doubtful about the operation, they will ask you subsequent questions, and then depending on the data and the financial transactions that they have captured, because हम लोग तो दुनिया भर पैन देते रहते हैं, वो पैन से कैप्चर होता है इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट में कि आपने क्या क्या किया है, right? So if they have doubt, they can also investigate. GST registration, this is something which is extremely important for a new business. You have to register online for the GST. You just need to give your PAN card, Aadhaar card, and a business address. Pretty simple procedure. Actually, you can also do it yourself if you are given a little bit training. Similarly, there are returns to be filed. Now, when I say returns, it is basically the information as to whom have you sold these goods, and whoever has sold you the goods, you can actually take the GST credit. So these are the simple returns that has to be filed on a monthly or quarterly basis. Then, in case you have private limited company, the company annual returns comes. Anyone can see your financial statements on MCA. So the disadvantage with the private limited companies, if you have made a profit of 10 crore rupees, And if I pay 50 rupees, I come to know that you have made a profit of 10 crore rupees. And it is extremely easy. I just need to put name of the company in the search window. Then there's something called DGFT, wherein you have for any export or import, you have to get the license of IEC, import export certificate. I mistakenly written the code there because I was working on some code matter, but it's an import export certificate. Sorry for this typo. Then also for the business, you need something called profession tax certificate registration for the employees. All these are, by the way, all these are online. Nothing requires your consultant or yourself to go to the office. It is actually, uploading the documents on the portal and getting those registration. Even if, there is any defect in the in your agreement, the officer will ask you questions on the portal and you will reply them. Provident fund, in case of your employees, you obviously need to consider the cost of the professionals like CAs and chartered accountants and company secretary in managing the compliances. And I have seen that a lot of people feel that this is such a confidential information that I want to give this work only to the chartered accountant whom I know. Right now, that is a typical mistake. You have to really talk to 4 different chartered accountants, 4 different company secretaries, understand the view, because more number of people you talk in their field, you can actually find out who is better suited for you, right? Because I am a personal believer that relationship can't take you for can't take your business benefit for a longer time. You can start it, you can start on a high note in the year 1, but then if you're dealing with the professional, it is better to meet more. It's just like I mentioned in the earlier slide that when we go to the more or DMart, we look for the options. What is the better option? Where is a better deal? So you have to use the same principle while choosing your chartered accountant, company secretary, lawyers. Culture of bribing government authorities, it does not make any sense. A lot of times, we have been trained actually right from our childhood कि वो government office में bribe ही देना पड़ता है. But that is not the reality. Today, in fact, if you're clean and everything is online, you don't need to pay any bribe. Even if you make any mistake, you may not have done it intentionally. Even if you make any mistake, if you tell government authorities, I have made the mistake, this is my apology letter, they will take the lenient view. No government these days takes the harsh view, especially if you are agreeing for your mistake. Of course, government officer, if they knocks your door, typically their mindset is to threaten you, but you don't need to get threatened. As far as you have not done anything wrong, you need not get worried. And the penalties of the government a lot of times are can be challenged in the appellate, or can be requested for the waiver also, and it happens. Okay, we will have a different talk about that. Why I feel you can do a lot of your work without paying a bribe. Last but not the least is closing business in India. Believe me, closing business in India is not an easy job. You start, and when I say closing business in India, I'm talking mainly about the companies. If you have formed the company, then closing, just because your business is not working, you still can't run away. You still have to pay 30,000 rupees a year to ensure all the compliances. And unfortunately, if you don't, if you ignore those compliances, there are penalties, typically like 200 rupees per day. And, all that gets accumulated and you're stuck actually. Because it is a criminal offense of not paying the government dues. So closing business in India, company is a big headache. For a partnership firm, well, for a company, you have to go for a liquidation under IBC, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. You have to get a NOC from all the authorities like income tax, GST, provident fund, profession tax, ESIC, कि भाई मैं ना किसी का कुछ भी देना नहीं है, and it takes time. Right, and after getting all those NOCs, you have to file a petition in the court, which takes in the NCLT code, which takes its own time. And last 2 years, nothing is happening. It is taking further time. But partnership firm, I like this model. You can actually register the partnership firm in less than 10,000 rupees. at the worst case cost. This is the max cost that I'm telling you. Pretty, very simple. Everything is online again here. You have to upload the partnership deed. That's it. And upload your proof and take a printout and submit it to the registrar of partnership firm office. You can create a dissolution deed. Deed is nothing but the agreement between the partners that after dissolution, what will happen, right? You have to, cancel your PAN and GST, which is nothing but as good as NOC from all authorities. GST cancellation is much more easier. PAN cancellation is still tedious. It takes time. Yeah, I mean, in my career, I have cancelled only 2 or 3 PANs. Okay, it is that difficult. Proprietorship is simple to close. You just put the, buy a Godrej lock and put it on your shop. But you need to be aware, okay, when to exit from the business. It's more like, investing in the stock market. You have invested some money in a company based on the advice, but then there is always a stop loss, which is advised by all these experts. So you really need to think about when is my stop loss? When can I stop? When can I stop spending my own money and go back to my, because the idea is not working, right? You can't hit the wall again and again, right? And I'm not against those inspirational book or motivational book who will try to tell you to hit the wall again and again to get the success. You can, of course, as far as you have a money. Once you don't have a money, then no one will come. I mean, you might call 100 of your friends and relatives for opening the shop. You call them for closing your shop and ask them for a help to repay the debts of your the payables of your creditors. None of will come there for that ceremony of closing the business. To sum up, I think I'm doing it earlier, but that's fine. We will take questions. To sum up, who, why, and what about the business? That is something you need to write it down on a piece of paper. If you do that, the subsequent part becomes much more easier. A business viability assessment. I have used this word again and again. As I mentioned that we may think great about this idea, but you need to find out different methods and you need to talk to a lot of people to really understand business viability. You really need to look at who are my competitors in the market, who are there around. Am I the one who is Newton or who is Zuckerberg to launch a product which is very unique in the market, and there is no one in this space. This is absolutely virgin space. So you really need to do the business viability assessment for converting your idea into the business successfully, and ensuring that you don't end up losing money. Business arithmetic, I told you about my favorite topic, business arithmetic. Take any spending decision, make sure that you have an arithmetic, you have a numbers defining it, right? So maybe once you are done, once you make the business arithmetic, just change the side of the table and ask questions, ask hard questions to yourself. Why this? Why are you saying that you will be able to sell 10,000 in 1 year? How will you sell 10,000 products in 1 year, right? Or 12,000 products in 1 year? That means 1,000 in a month. That means even if you work on the weekend, you will sell 30-40 products in a day. Is it possible? Will your customer be ready? And who will be those customers? Right? So all you need to do is that once you make the business arithmetic, just change side of the table and ask those tough questions to yourself, and you will get the answer. As I mentioned, do read this book, E-Myth, available on Amazon or Flipkart. This is the greatest book every entrepreneur must read. It talks about, it does not talk about, by the way, finance. There are, of course, other books in finance like Customer Funded Business or Simple Numbers. These are some of the great books. It talks about, it try to teach you about the finance, basics of the finances to be applied in the business. I am aware that most of the audience here are not from the accounting background, and that is the reason I tried to keep the presentation very simple, not in the technical words. But believe me, finance is not technical. Finance is all about looking at your wallet and thinking, where to make our buying decision or spending decision. sustainability and repeatability, whether your business is sustainable 5 years, 10 years, 10 plus years. Abhi wo 4 jo survive ho gaya, 10 plus, how many years they have survived, we don't know, right? That analysis has not yet been done, but we really need to think about 10 years or 20 years down the line, and figure out whether it is sustainable. If it is sustainable, and I'm not saying that, in 20 years, in 10 years, the idea will not change or the new concepts will not come in the market, because there will be someone else who will try to disrupt your market, right? So you will have to be ahead of the competition. We all have heard what happened to the Kodak camera. When everyone was coming with the digital camera, Kodak camera did not change. Eventually they are out of the business, right? So, and it was a span of, they ran the business for more than, 20, 30 years, more than that. In fact, they were giants of that business, but they simply ignored it. So that will happen. Someone, even if you have a great idea, keep that back of the mind. There will be someone else who will try to disrupt the idea that you have, who will try to have something better than what you are offering. So you need to really figure out how to, offer something better, so that you can meet your numbers. And, as I mentioned, the value of idea to your customer. Why will I buy a product at a premium price or a low price? There is a lot of customer psyche, that goes through. Customer. I read one book called Customer Plus. I highly recommend anyone who is, whether you are getting into business or you're not getting into business, Customer Plus is the book that one must read. It's a gold book. It talks about the psyche of the customer, how customer look at the seller, and how they make the purchasing decision. Right? If you know how they make the purchasing decision, you can actually think about. You can actually look at pricing your idea to give more value than what customer is paying to you. Finally, business is all about making money, and idea is all about transforming the way of life. And I have few questions. I will quickly take them. I know that I have closed little early, but let me quickly ask these questions and quickly read these questions, respond to the best of my abilities. And yeah, okay. So the first question is, what financial constraints should be taken into consideration in partnership business startups? This is a great question, in fact, Dr. Borse. And I tell you why it is a great question. I forgot to mention about the partnership and the relationship. I have seen great friends, who broke their relationship because of this, getting into the business. See, imagine if I have a great friend right from my childhood, who is working in some X company, I'm working in a Y company, or even if we are working in some same company, we are going to the office every day together, we are thinking about the business ideas, we are dreaming together, but somehow, our way of working is not working. The partnership doesn't work, right? So the partnership works on the trust. It just doesn't work on the trust. It works on the transparency. So the financial constraint is actually a transparency, the transparency between the two partners. Whether if I'm bringing 50%, whether my partner will bring 50% or he will start making excuses. Nahi, maine to chair laya tha, laptop laya tha, so now I can't bring the cash. Right? So financial. So as far as taking a loan is a financial constraint. Of course, taking a loan is a different ball game altogether. Bank will evaluate two partners carefully rather than the business, because it's a new startup, right? You can give all those stories, but finally bank will say, well, the partners are liable for this loan, and partners, they will also take the fixed deposit certificates, or they will mortgage the property of both the partners to make sure that if in case of loan defaults, they are able to recover money. Next question is, for funds in a company, business loan or loan against property would be advisable. Now, business loans are typically very, very costly. Gone are the days when you used to get the loan against the stock in trade. You still get it, but they are still very, very costly. Loan against property is still available at a cheaper price. Next question is, any suggestions on how to reduce or avoid leakage through employees? All I say is just keep your eyes and ears open, and keep micromanaging them. This is a challenge. Believe me, I have seen, despite of having all the controls, there are leakages, right? And the leakages happens because your focus is somewhere else. Your focus is on increasing the business. Maybe sometimes people get their trustworthy person to monitor these employees. Someone in my relation, someone who is my relative, my uncle, who is a retired guy, but he wants to help me out. He can be placed to monitor these employees and avoid leakages. But I'm happy that you at least took that point into consideration, that leakages are dangerous. Leakages is actually cutting our own pocket. Yeah, I request you to state name. So name and the author of the book that you mentioned previously, that is E-Myth, the E-Myth by Michelle Gerber. Organizer, please provide PPT of the current session. Of course, we will share that. How to scale up financial goal, going from small scale setup to large scale setup. So, so there is a book called Scaling Up. And that is typically meant for the startup companies. I'm not sure whether it is available in India. Should be available in India, maybe in the Kindle form. I forgot the writer name. I think Verne Harnish. He's a consultant who helps small scale startup companies to become a large scale startup companies. But I advise that you stabilize your small scale business first. Do that business arithmetic, and I'm sure you will find the formula. Yeah, that's it. These are the questions. So, any more questions?
Madam?
Yeah, I'll just stop sharing. Yeah, thank you. Any more questions? I'm okay to take.
There are, I think there are no questions, any more questions, but there are many more compliments.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very nice and informative session, great session, and really engaging. So that talks about it all.
Yeah.
And so, Mr. Amrish, it was really a nice and engaging session as it is written. And you have explained the importance of mission with numbers, and highlighted on how success of business will be measured if you are able to sustain for a longer time, and how it should be benefiting people at large, and life-changing impact of your vision should be there. You have talked about the case story of your favorite Yevle Amruta Tulya, those not in Pune and out of Maharashtra. It's a popular tea chain in Pune. And then you have also given a few hints, clues, like a businessman, how they should have their own targets, and the pre-operating tax profits are there or not, that check should be there. And then you have told about few books which all these entrepreneurs should be reading, like E-Myth, Simple Numbers, Customer Plus, and the Scalina, which you just told. And that how you should be choosing your CAs and lawyers, and talk to more varied professionals to get different views. And also you ended up summarizing the formalities while closing business in India. So overall, it was a great session, and I'm sure it must have benefited to all the people at large. So thank you for this wonderful session. And now I hand over to Dr. Gandhi, coordinator of this program. Thank you.
Yeah, rightly said, Dr. Trupti, Chitra Madam. He has touched the core of the business. You have elaborated in detail all the things, right from taxes, how to operate, what could be the disputes, why they appear, because most of times we know it is happening, but the reason behind that many times it is not clear. So that was a really good part. You have elaborated why this may happen and what care should be taken. That is the solutions. So on behalf of AISSMS College of Pharmacy and organizing team of this AICTE sponsored 5-day FDP program, we present here the certificate of appreciation to Mr. Amrish Vaid, Chartered Accountant, and wish a many more long association with you in regarding guidance to related with on this topic. Okay, thank you. There are some queries in the chat box. I have shared all the study material which I have received till date from the resource persons, and we'll share even the one which will be received for the few more sessions which are still pending. Definitely all the study material, it will be mailed to you on your official mail address which has been registered with AICTE Atal. As well as the study material, it is uploaded on the AICTE Atal site also. So you can log in through your registration, which you have done, and there you will find the study material, the same which I have shared now on the FDP group. Thank you. We will end up with the pre-lunch session. We will have gap till 2:30. I request all the participants to be in tune and join again at 2:25 for the post lunch session of day 4. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.